Honestly, I don't even know where to begin after that. I am absolutely mind blown and baffled by the reaction of Tommy Fury. And if you don't know what I'm speaking about, obviously the fight has just finished. It was a split decision for Tommy Fury, and we're going to talk about the fight in a minute. But I just want to speak to you quickly about his reaction. He jumped on the ropes, screaming, crying his eyes out. Then in the interview saying like he did it for his baby, which is fair enough, right enough, and he was screaming and crying and overcome with emotion, screaming like he just won a world title. Mate, you just kind of got taken to a split decision by a YouTuber. You know, that does not look like you didn't look like a man that had been doing this his whole life. And I am a bit bitter, right enough, I am a bit bitter, because I feel like Jake Paul's right hand was injured. He wasn't throwing his right hand. He was holding his right hand in between rounds. He was shaking it constantly, trying to like loosen the glove a little bit, I think. And I just feel like he barely won. Like, Tommy Fury barely won. He was dropped with a jab in the last round. Yes, he got right back up, but Jake Paul was being hit by big jabs, big shots, and he was just kind of eating them and staying there. And then Tommy Fury gets hit with a stiff jab and he's on his bum. Like now Tommy Fury's got a knockdown towards him on his record, and that can be used in statistics. Like, it was a really good fight, right enough. Like, it was good. I was on the edge of my seat watching closely. Jake Paul did very well, extremely well. He's improved so much, and that's the biggest thing I've taken away from that. Like, his head movement, his hand placement, his anticipation was the biggest thing for me, though. Like, knowing where to put his hands before shots come. Weird fight though. There was 2 point deductions, one on Jake Paul's end for rabbit punches, which both guys were doing, and Jake Paul did it less times than Tommy, and I was like, alright. And then Tommy Fury got a point deducted for clinching and holding, because in the 4th, 5th and 6th round, well, more like the 4th and 5th rounds, Tommy Fury was absolutely gasping for air. And you have aspirations for being a world champion. Jake Paul had more cardio than you. He's a big, muscly bodybuilder. That's all he is. He's never going to go anywhere in the sport. However, this is an incredibly fun sport for boxing. Tommy Fury won. Fair play to him. Won a split decision against Jake Paul. And he was crying as if he won a world title. And my friend messaged me being like, haha, let's go. And he wasn't watching the fight. He just seen the result. And I was like... So I messaged him being like, he's crying as if he won a world title. And he was like, are you mad? And I was like, no, but I don't think you actually understand. If you won a basic level WBO title and started bawling crying, that's one part of like the undisputed championships. It's like, okay, brother, stop crying now. It's not that big of a deal. Everybody wins one. Like, the fact that he was bawling, he couldn't like control himself. It was just like, but right enough. Massive amount of pressure on Tommy Fury. Massive amount of stress his family must put him under. But, like, what the fuck was that? That was a terrible performance. And my most viewed video is one of me saying Tommy Fury is awful. And now this video is me saying Tommy Fury's awful again. Like, he's really bad. Jake Paul's been boxing for he claims it's 4 years, but really on and off for the first 2 years. And Tommy Fury claims he's been doing it for 10 plus years. He's got no power. He's not a good boxer. Tommy Fury isn't good. Jake Paul, I'd say, would win a rematch. I'd say Jake Paul would win a rematch. I feel like Jake Paul had a hand injury. I feel like Jake Paul hasn't been boxing for 10 years, the same way Fury has. Fair play to Tommy Fury. I'm very happy for him, though. He's going to go home to his family, see his kid. Very, very happy for him in that sense. I'm happy for him. I'm truly happy for Tommy Fury. However, I think you need to get a little bit of a grip. I feel like there will be a rematch. There's too much money in this fight for there not to be a rematch. And I feel like Jake Paul wins the rematch. But, you know, I'm salty. I'm a little bit salty because I would have loved to see Jake Paul go 7-0. And just what that would have been if he beat Tommy Fury. But the fact that I don't think Jake Paul's lost any stock. I feel like there will be a rematch. I think there'll be 3 fights. I think there'll be a trilogy now. And I feel like... I just feel like Jake will get it done. The improvements... Tommy Fury looks the exact same that he'd always done. He looks the exact same, except less aggressive. That says it all. The amount of respect he must have put on Jake Paul's ability in the ring after feeling his power. Massive respect to Jake Paul for that. Made Fury passive, made Fury clinch and lose a point for holding. The referee was a bit antsy with handing out point deductions, though. I didn't like that. However... Jake Paul's improvements were very big. And by the way, I am going to speak about the fight. I just want to get my initial thoughts off my chest. Jake Paul's improvements were fucking evident. The head movement, the hand placement, the shot selection, left hook was catching Fury over and over. Fury was just landing little jabs here and there, but then the one big jab of the fight actually dropped Tommy Fury, which is just crazy. Wow. I can't even like describe my emotions right now. Like, I know loads of people are going to be happy Jake Paul lost, but then it's also like you have to, yes, you're happy he lost, but you can't necessarily now be like big upping Tommy Fury because he's absolutely awful. Like, Tommy Fury is terrible. However, fair play to him. Run number 1, Tommy Fury was doing his thing, landing a few jabs. No big shots were landed. Round number 2, the exact same thing. Just a few extra jabs from Fury. Round number 3, I'd give that round to Jake Paul. It was very competitive. However, Jake Paul was landing bigger shots, bigger jabs. And then round number 4, Fury kind of picked up the pace a little bit, kind of going for it. Jake Paul then picked up the pace towards the end of the round. And it's a toss-up. When it comes to the middle parts, it's a toss-up. There was the point deduction for both guys. It was a very hard fight to score. I will go back and score it. I did have Fury winning the fight going into this 8th round. I had it, I think, 4-3. No, I think I actually could have had it 5-2. 5-2 to Tommy Fury. I had that in my head. Then Jake Paul dropped him. And I'm like, oh my god. So I didn't know which way it was going to go. You mean it depends really how you're judging it. I'm not the best judge of character when it comes to boxing. I feel like mixed martial arts is more of my realm where I can actually sit back and like figure out who I think's won. However, fair play to Tommy Fury and fair play to... That was great. I was like, what the fuck? It was a very good fight. Very happy for both guys, obviously. However, I think Fury needs to get any delusion out of his head for being a world title challenger. And I'm not disrespecting him too much because he's in a much better situation in his life than I am. He is now a 9-0 boxer with 4 knockouts, and he's rich, famous, has a kid, has a girlfriend, has a massive house, nice cars, everything. Fair play to him in that aspect. However, Jake Paul's given him an opportunity, and now it's time for him to return the favour and do a rematch. There's so much money in it, and I think we should get that on with. Maybe in, should we say, June? I'm thinking June, maybe. And the trilogy, maybe November, December. Fuck the KSI fight. I don't want to see Jake Paul fight KSI. He demolished KSI. He's keeping up with Tommy Fury, and Tommy Fury, I think, would batter KSI. Because KSI isn't as passive as Jake Paul, but I think also has less power. Okay, anyway, we're not going to speak about that. However, that's all I really have to say on the matter. It was a really good fight, really good fight. I'm wondering what John Fury's going to come out and say. I'm really, really excited for the post-fight press conference. I think that's going to be great. I'm going to hear what Jake Paul has to say finally. And then we'll actually hear a bit more about what John Fury's going to say. He's tougher than we thought. Tough kid, but Tommy got the job done. Split decision, but I'm not going to speak about that. A split decision against a YouTuber, and you're celebrating like you've won a world title. That's what we get. That's what gets me, because it was a really bad performance from Tommy Fury. Like, it was terrible. Like, he really performed so badly, and that's not the way he was talking. Was as if he was some like 10-year boxer that's going to be a world champion. Mate, the fact you didn't go out there and obliterate Jake Paul, and there needs to be an immediate rematch because it was a split decision, is baffling. However, I don't know if the 2-point deductions maybe were like a thing of let's make it as close as possible, and maybe giving one to Jake Paul was like look, it's not rigged, we're giving one to Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Did you kind of get my thinking there? I don't know. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the fight. I'm gonna see you all later. It was a very good fight.